Social media management is notorious for being high pressure, competitive, and changing literally every day, which is why it isn't surprising that most social media managers get burned out within the first 2 years. So how do you keep going? How do you stay up with the latest updates, protect your mental health, and build a successful social media management business that supports your lifestyle goals? Whether that's working from home with your kiddos or jet setting around the world, that's what this show is all about. Welcome to Social Media Manager Confidential. I'm Shanté Gorman, founder of a 6-figure social media management agency and mentor to social media managers. And I'm here to dish on the ins and outs of the social media management world without any of the gatekeeping that can come along with it. You'll learn, you'll laugh, and you'll leave each episode inspired. Let's dive into today's episode. Hey there, welcome back to another episode of Social Media Manager Confidential. I appreciate you listening to this. It has been a little while since we did a Q&A with Shanté, and normally I sort through these questions, type out thoughtful responses, and then read them here on the podcast. But instead today, I wanted to try something a little bit different where I am just answering these questions off the cuff. I'm going to try to keep this episode short, so pack as many of these questions as I can get in here. I do a lot of Ask Me Anythings over on Instagram in my stories. So this is where I'm getting most of the questions, although some of them are coming from the DMs, which I also like to answer questions in the DMs. So if you do have questions, please feel free to DM me. It may take me a little bit to respond, but I definitely love helping you out there. So you can do that at Sugar Punch Marketing. Okay, so let's dive in. Question is, I am 98% sure my client is buying likes and engagement. It was never specifically stated in our contract that she could not do this. However, I feel like I can't even evaluate the results of our work together because she's doing this. What should I do? Okay, great question. A lot of people run into this issue. And so even though it isn't in the contract, it's okay to bring it up. I have had this issue with clients in the past. Sometimes it's because they don't know any better, that it's not actually helpful to buy likes and engagement, and you need to explain why. But I would start the conversation with just saying, hey, I noticed that something funky is kind of going on with your engagement because of these specific reasons. Fill in the blank here. Can you let me know if you know anything about that? Usually when this type of stuff happens, it means you're paying for engagement. And then see what they say. If they respond with, yeah, we are, this is why, you can then have a, just a normal conversation of, here's my personal recommendation of why doing this actually hurts your account rather than helping it. And here's what we can do instead. And also make sure you set expectations. So if they do decide to turn this service off, let them know that their account is going to take a hit for a little bit. They're going to see, not much engagement happening at all for a little while, a few months at least. And then it's going to be like slow growth, because the more inauthentic engagement, inauthentic followers that the account has, they're kind of digging themselves a hole every day, deeper and deeper, that they're using this, that you're then going to have to help them, fill in and climb out of. It is definitely possible, but again, we need to make sure we're setting realistic expectations on the recovery of the account and making it healthy again. Next question. I launched 3 months ago and I'm kind of down about not booking a client yet. Any mindset tips? Okay. I want to let you know that it took me 3 months to book my first client. So you're not in a weird timeline or anything. You're not behind. That is a normal amount. So hopefully that helps you feel a little bit better. I do get that it can be frustrating with putting yourself out there, having discovery calls, pitches, things like that, and nobody is booking yet. There could be some issues that you're running into with this. And again, I don't have a full context of what you're doing or what you're posting or who you're talking to or anything like that. But I do have a lot of resources about how to book clients, common mistakes new social media managers make, where to look for them, all that. The easiest way to find all of that information is by going to my private self-hosted community, which is linked in the show notes there. There's a lot of great resources, and I have them all linked specifically in the starting out post for social media managers. Next question, how to communicate to a client when they are responsible for content creation and don't deliver. This one is a hot topic. I've had so many conversations lately about this. And the thing is, at the end of the day, you can only do so much, right? If your client doesn't want to create content for you, if they don't want to provide you with content that you think will fit their strategy best, then it kind of is what it is, and you just need to set your realistic expectations and set their realistic expectations of, okay, based on the content that we currently have, which honestly may be nothing, or it may be really old or really poor quality stuff. But anyway, based on the quality of content that we have, these are the expectations of performance that we can see. My professional recommendation would be to XYZ, fill in the blank again, of what you think will work best, whether they have on video themselves or they get like a professional videographer, photographer, whatever the case may be. But that's really all you can do. They're hiring you, they're paying for your service up front, ideally in a monthly retainer. I always recommend getting paid up front. So then you don't have to worry about being compensated for your time. They're basically paying to be on your client roster, to have dedicated time where you can work on their account, work on their content. But if they're not giving you what you need, then that's kind of on them, that they're not using your service to the fullest potential that they can. And it also should be in your contract about content creation, delivery timelines, who's responsible for what. And if they don't get you content, then they still owe you money, essentially, is what the contract says. And I do get questions about where to get contracts all the time. I don't have contract templates personally, or I don't sell them personally, because I always want people to go somewhere where it's a reputable source, lawyer drafted. These need to stand up in court, God forbid if you ever actually need to use them. So I always recommend going to Coaches and Company. I'll link those in the show notes for you. I also have a bunch of specific contracts linked in the community. Again, also linked in the show notes if you want to join. But if you use code Shanté at checkout, you also get a $50 off coupon. So it's SHANTE, and you get $50 off whatever contract you want to purchase. I believe they also have payment plans available, so it's pretty accessible. Want to dive even deeper into these topics and more like it? I'm talking finding high-paying clients, creating packages that sell, advanced marketing strategies, content creation, metrics and insights, portfolios, launching your business, and even how to become a social media manager. I have a full program suite of 8 self-study courses for you so that you can build and grow a profitable social media management business, have consistent income, work with dream clients, and scale without getting hit with burnout. Plus, I've done a lot of the hard work for you. You'll get templates, scripts, and so much more. Learn more about the Social Media Manager Incubator Program Suite by visiting my website. Details and links are in the show notes for you. Next question. What platform do you use to accept payments from clients? Okay, so I have Dubsado for my contract signing. So it's digital contract signing. I have it for my onboarding, my scheduling, for calls, and then questionnaires for onboarding, like forms and stuff. And then I also have it do invoicing, which is actually connected to my Stripe account. So that's actually what I use for payment processing. That's what you can use to charge credit cards, essentially. I believe the account is free, but they do charge a fee, which is normal. You cannot avoid having fees on getting paid. If you do, it tends to go towards illegal territory. And you might have some tax issues and things like that. So you're going to have to just know that there's going to be some payment fees, processing fees from whatever platform you do decide to use. PayPal is more expensive than the others, so I don't recommend doing PayPal. Anyway, I have Stripe connected to my Dubsado account, and it's connected to their client account in my Dubsado so that I could have all the forms and everything in the contract all together in one place. And it also allows you to set up reoccurring payments and require them to sign up for auto pay. So that way you don't have to chase after them to pay an invoice. You don't have to worry about remembering to send an invoice. So those are the two tools that I use for invoicing clients. Next question, what to do if your client isn't seeing results? So this can be a number of reasons, but first I want you to step back and take a look and see what are the results the client is expecting and are those realistic? If not, you need to have a conversation to set realistic expectations for them. If they are realistic and we're not hitting those goals, it is time to figure out why that is. Is content not performing the way that we want it to or we're expecting it to? And if not, why? Look at your best performing content and see if there's something you can do to leverage that. Update your strategy. Usually if you're not seeing results, it's time to update the strategy. Either what you're currently doing isn't working because it's getting old, or it's not quite hitting what your audience is currently looking for. I teach these in classes. I have Marketing Quick Starter, which is a overall marketing strategy class specific for social media managers. And then I also have a metrics masterclass, which is what teaches you how to read the metrics and the insights and pull out patterns from the data of how the content has performed. So I'll link both of those in the show notes for you so you can take a look and get more information about those. And then the last question I'm going to answer today is, how do you write scripts for Reels or carousel content? And I'm assuming this is for clients. So what I do for this is I use ClickUp for my content management so that my clients can see everything at once. Let me know if they have any revision requests, approve, schedule, stuff like that. And I have videos on that as well as templates. So I'll link both of those if you're curious more a little bit about ClickUp. You can learn more. But essentially what I do is where I have the caption, I have a little headline that says video script, and then I write out sentence by sentence what I want them to say. If there's things I want them to do, I also talk about that and give them information, walk this way or film from this angle kind of a thing. And then I'll say, okay, now down here is the caption, and just write it in there. And I do talk about this more in detail in the content creation bootcamp class of how to get scripts and reels and stuff for content from your clients. So I will link that as well. And then for carousel content, I will write slide 1, here's the text that's going to be on it. Slide 2, here's the text that's going to be on it. Slide 3, here's the text that's going to be on it. So that's kind of how we do it. If it gets to a point where we don't need the client to approve scripts or slides on carousels, then we just create them and show them the carousel in a Google Drive folder, and they're numbered like image number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, so that they're all in order. And I also show how to do that in the launch setup and management class, which is like organizations and systems and things for how to run your business successfully with clients. I think I'm going to do some more of these. I have so many more questions I did not get to, but hopefully you found this helpful. And if you have any friends who are social media managers or marketers, share the link to this episode with them and help them out. And if you're not already following this podcast, make sure you hit the follow button or the plus button in Apple Podcasts so you can get brand new episodes delivered straight to your podcast app every Friday. Thank you so much for listening. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Learn more about my digital template shop, online courses, and mentorship program by going to my website at sugarpunchmarketing.com. And while you're there, make sure you join my safe, supportive community created exclusively for social media managers. It's 100% free to join and packed with really amazing resources, trainings, and people. See you next time.